They put the dinner on the table. And you either don't like it or you don't want it. What happens when you tell them, wifey, I don't want this shit. You can't cook. Nah. Say what you mean. Don't be scared. But many of you are scared. Many of them are afraid. And you wouldn't say anything. Then they go to their boy's crib. She gonna talk to her coworkers. You gonna talk to work wifey. And then you talk shit about how your wife can't cook. You may be telling jokes, but you sincere. You hate the shit, but you committed to it and married it. I know it's Sunday. If this was a church, you be throwing money on the table. You putting that fiat currency in a bowl for me. See, so you don't like it, then you married it. Then you want to play the victim and say, the reality is, if she couldn't cook when you met her, well, she also didn't have the 4 kids. 5 kids she pushed out, 4 kids she pushed out, 3 of them being yours, and then that one that you don't know isn't yours, but you think you got 4. Are we gonna cover it all today? Because ultimately, it starts with you. See, most women tell you up front what they want. You ask them, hey, fine shit, what you want to do? And they start, oh shit, it's like, look, I want to go Roof Chris, and then can you take me to the dealership and get me that orange Lambo? And then your dumbass interrupt her filming a video that you're gonna put on YouTube as Gold Digger prank video number 26 because she telling you what she really want in life. In reality, she knew that was what she wanted and had the answer to your question, and it had nothing to do with you. She's been watching Lamborghini car videos on YouTube before she even met you. She went to cosmetology school and that dick riding class with the pillows on girls' night just to guarantee she gonna at least get Roof Chris with or without you. Start with realizing the levels. You got men and women. You got king and queen. And then you got high level. You got God and goddess. See, men and women fight to control and maintain the household. That's like their purpose, men and women level. Then kings and queens control the kingdom. Well, you know that leaves gods and goddesses to control and regulate and manifest. Universal, the universe. See, But this person in our example, it's not a real person. I made them up. But this is a great story for you to understand what we're going to get into. See, the person in the story, the male in the story, the man married the Ruth Chris Lambo chick, right? He looked at his budget. When he met her, he said, "Oh, you want Ruth Chris and Lambo? I don't have the Lambo. I got this Audi, right? But I can afford to play that game with Ruth Chris 5 times before it becomes an issue. So let me work the magic." This is how they sometimes, right? So then you wind up accomplishing goal. The chick likes you. She see you can't Lambo her out, but she rocking with you. So somehow on that journey, you wind up marrying the Ruth Chris Lambo chick. Then told her, then y'all fight and argue because you want to be seen as this, maybe you got the ego. So you want to be male, man. You want to say, you want to tell her she can't chase her financial dreams herself. Your insecurities make that an issue. And 5 years into the relationship, you're having the argument why y'all don't go out to Ruth Christmas like that anymore, or y'all don't hardly go out anymore. And you're trying to satisfy her with the feedback, which is to her, you're gaslighting her and don't know it, but you're giving her the feedback that while you were dating, that was Ruth Chris. And now you locked in, you got kids, you got a house, maybe you got an apartment, whatever, renting a house, maybe you're mortgaging a house, which is still renting, but emotionally you feel better. You think you're better than someone, but you're not. You're a renter just like everyone else. But that's another conversation. We're going to get there in a moment. So you're trying to tell her that the Ruth Chris was during the dating period. Now you locked in, got kids, got priorities that have changed, and you still can't afford the Lambo. So she was agreeing with you for the last 5 years. She gave you 5 years of support for your priorities to change into the Lambo man, right? Remember that song? I'm a classic man, right? She gave you 5 years to become the Lambo man. So your priorities, she was waiting on your priorities to shift into Lambo money. You see what I'm saying? She was quietly waiting. And that's why all the kids aren't yours. See, you made it a problem for her to help build the experience. She couldn't go out and help contribute to the experience with you because you were afraid that somebody might see her in a suit and like her and have, more offer than you. So you wanted to make sure she couldn't go down that path, or, she couldn't be a stripper if she wanted to be a stripper because, guys would be looking at her and you were insecure about that. So she couldn't make $10,000 a night being a stripper and be with you. So anywhere between being a stripper or being a lawyer, whatever form of prostitution she wanted to take, you didn't want to pimp, right? Because pimping ain't easy. So you made it a problem for her to help contribute to the experience of being Lambo'd up, Ruth Chris every Wednesday, right? She wanted to share that experience with you, but you made it a problem. Then you didn't have the mindset, the heart, or the desire to go out and obtain and provide it all by yourself, right? So the only way she could satisfy the desire was to stop saying no to the lifestyle when it met her in the street. Now you crying she cheating on you, and you posting Facebook lives with surprise DNA tests when you find out that the kid ain't yours after 12 years. This is the mindset of the No King protesters. See, when you have a stake in the household, you kind of probably feel like you should have a say in the decision-making process, even if it's simply the decision that you don't want to make the decisions because you ain't good at making decisions. So you gonna trust person X as the decision maker, as the representation of the household. Even if that's your choice, you feel like you have a stake in the household. So even if you agree to waive your rights to choice and just go along to fit in, that was your choice. How you paying property tax on something that you claim to be king of? How you paying rent on something you call yours? Why are you talking about you own that G-Wagon when you making payments on it and getting taxed? See, that shows the danger of feelings and belief. That shows the danger of feelings and belief. You want to feel like you king. You want to call something or someone yours, but you don't want to do what it takes to own it for real. You want limited liability. You want an LLC. Now that you see the word attitude means position, now that you see your true position, despite how you feel about yourselves or them, right? When we talk to these other people out here, they got all this shit to say about how better they are than you because, you know, they got a 2025 car payment. Because they pay 19th floor remodeled rent. And they don't know they don't own shit either. So they think they're better than you, right? So anyway, mirror, mirror. Know that now that you see the truth of attitude, despite how you, they, we, them felt about themselves, now we can talk about the difference between protests and unrest. Protest is not, it's not what you think. Let me show you. Protest is solemn or formal declaration. Now, I had to look up the word solemn. I ain't something I use often. I kept wanting to make it Solomon. I was like, we going to Solomon's temple on him. We talking about kings and we gonna go Solomon's temple. But it's like solemn or something. I don't know. Pronunciate it yourself. But what it means is it means serious. Serious or formal declaration. Now, when you see the people out there in their protests, holding their little signs, stomping up and down the block, I'm not hating on them for wanting to take action. I'm just trying to give you what the true action should be, so you don't waste your time or ours with emotional bullshit. Go back to the dinner being put on the table. When you put dinner on the table and your little spoiled brat tells you that's not what they want, and they start hopping off the chair and stomping their feet and holding up a picket sign saying we won't eat, you don't give a fuck, because there's a whole fridge full of food. You cook that shit, it's gonna be there when they get ready, and if they don't eat, they don't eat. And then maybe you got some tributaries, some forks in the road, you gonna go from there, you gonna make them eat, you gonna leave it on the table, it'll be what they eat tomorrow. You got a long laundry list of how to deal with that shit, and ain't none of it, for most people, well, what else do you want? Let me give it to you. So see, this is why you gotta really tune into the definition, what the true meaning of minority is. And I don't give a fuck what you think you look like. Minority means childlike mind. It's a mental thing. So when you go out there and start having what you call them, when the kid shit start with a T, right? Yeah. Temper tantrum. When you start having tantrums, right? That's what it looks like. Little kids having a tantrum, and instead of just being hopping off their chair at the table, you out in the streets, you out on 495, you out on 485, having a tantrum. And the adults is gonna treat you just like the kids at the table. So, the word protest, as we showed, originates from the Latin word protestare, which means to declare publicly or make a solemn, formal declaration. The thing is, this declaration inherently implies purposeful action. It's a clear stance. You got that part right. You got a clear stance, but it ain't talking about that kind of stance, right? It's a clear stance or position taken to advocate for change or express opposition to something. Now, you know, Pasha's branding America to replace the United States. See, that's a protest. It's a solemn, formal declaration. The only difference is what y'all doing, most of y'all, most of them, is they're out there having a tantrum, and in 2 weeks, they're gonna go right back to the system that they were saying they were against. And they're going to live with it as if they were not out there wanting something different 2 weeks ago. As if they didn't make a formal public declaration. Now, that is the definition of hypocrisy. They didn't wake up on No King Day saying, I just can't wait to show how hypocritical I am. I'm the biggest hypocrite I'm gonna be the biggest hypocrite of 2025. They didn't wake up and say that. That's the problem with having feelings. You don't feel like the hypocrite. Your favorite artist making 1990 music, talking about how to cope with the pain, how to deal with the pain, instead of how to get rid of the pain. That's why hip hop is dying. That's why hip hop is dead. That's why New Age is where it's at. Come with us. pass that offering plate around. Because hip hop wants you to live with the pain. Let us tell you, listen to this music. Let us coach you through. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. If you know that, I want you to put "it's not okay" in the chat. So, a protest historically and linguistically is tied to intentionality or goal-oriented action. See, y'all think this is the action. Why? Because kids ask their parents for what they want. A child asks their parents 98% of the time. So I don't blame y'all. Many of those people, we shouldn't blame them. They didn't learn at 14 years old to stop asking mom and dad and to go do something. I don't care. I picked up selling weed when I was 14. I wanted sneakers. I wanted clothes. I was tired of being told no because you're 300 pounds and your shirt is $85 if you get a designer shirt, but your sister's stuff is cheaper. So they can get more. Because your parents' translation wasn't in the mindset of them getting more for themselves to have more for us. So I was supposed to be comfortable with less. And at 14, I decided I was gonna get more. And I've been getting more my whole life. And I know that's why you're here watching this now, because you are either the get mores or you want more. And you tired of people telling you it's okay to have less. See, because you want more than the Facebook video showing you on such and such boulevard holding your signs while the police pushed you and threw a smoke grenade at you. You want more than that to be your legacy. You want to actually have change. You want to actually have it be different next week, next year, next month. You wonder why Pasha is branding America to replace the United States, while you or them are just simply displaying unrest. Let's play with the words. The act of protesting is a demonstration of resolve. Whether through words or actions, it signifies an effort to move toward a particular desired outcome. You want something different, you gotta do something different. And this is why they become hypocrites, not that they signed up to be hypocrites. When the camera's on them, right? Half of them only went outside for knowing the camera's on them, and the camera didn't show up. They're gonna pull out their phone and do the selfie video and put it on Facebook and say, "Look, we out here," right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because it still helps to promote the agenda and make people aware. So I'm not that guy. You know, you see the videos or the posts or the memes talking about why you gonna give the homeless people food and then take a picture of it and put it on Facebook. You should do it and not tell nobody. Motherfucker, we trying to build awareness of this is what needs to be done. Your dumb ass ain't done shit, so it makes you feel some type of way when you see other people doing shit. So all you can do is talk about how they show that they doing shit, right? Because the difference is when you feed the homeless person, it shows the problem. It shows that you take an initiative. It inspires someone else to do the same thing. Then someone else can come along and say, hey, let's stop feeding them, or let's not just feed them, but let's revamp or change the economy and change society so we can eliminate homelessness. Because I know 15% of somebody out there was out there like, well, that's what we said about the protest posture that you're sitting up here talking about we shouldn't do. Because now that you're doing it in the incorrect manner, because you don't know any better, or you have emotional attachments to beliefs and feelings, that's going to expire when you reach exhaustion of throwing the temper tantrum at the kitchen table and your parents still ain't getting you McDonald's. You're gonna be forced to either return to that plate or go hungry. So what you're doing is a wasted effort. And you have green belts and project managements like me. I just happen to be one of the greatest optimizationists, branding and marketing specialists America has to offer. So to me, to us, we see your passion. You just don't know that the word passion means suffering. But what we don't see is we don't see you making a difference. Because you're gonna go back to work next week and you're just gonna talk shit with your coworkers about what you did at the unrest that you call a protest. And then you're gonna go back to the hip hop music that tells you how to cope with the pain instead of do something about it. That's why you need to fuck with Pasha in the new age. Because in contrast, unrest is a more ambiguous term rooted in the concept of instability or disorder. Unrest often refers to a state of agitation or disturbance, typically within a community or nation. Unlike the word protest, unrest does not inherently guarantee clarity of purpose, direction, or productive action at all. Which is why every protest you've seen happen in your lifetime, there's been no change. Unrest can manifest as aimless chaos, internal strife, discontent, lack of focus. While it may stem from legitimate grievances, unrest alone does not necessarily lead to meaningful, constructive change unless channeled effectively. So we see the agitation, where you were comfortable, you were sitting, and now you feel uncomfortable. The feeling of uncomfortable, but you don't know what to do with it. So now you just wasted energy. So that's why you got to hear this video. That's why you need leaders like Pasha Paba. I'm going to give you the channel to flow through, to direct that energy. We're going to brand America. This distinction is crucial when examining social movements in general or collective efforts to enact change. Protests, when organized and intentional, serves as a vehicle for transformation. It's gonna get you there. You hear me? Hold on. Protest, when done properly, is gonna get you there. It's the vehicle. They want you to ride with them. When you ride with the competition, this is what you get. You crash out. You didn't make it to the destination, but you don't know you didn't make it to the destination because your feelings were never attached to the destination. Your feelings, in most cases, were attached to having the tantrum because you didn't know how to channel the energy. So you fell on the floor and you did the little fish kick tail like a 2-year-old. That's why they want you to stay away from Pasha, because Pasha gonna have you fucking getting to where you want to get to in life. Then that means that they can't control you. That's who's telling you, oh, don't rock with them. Stay hip hop. Don't go new age. You know what I mean? Like my 1995 song, right? I made it in 2025 because I want you to stay in the pain. We gonna get you up out of this shit. If you want to get up out of this shit, put an arrow in the chat. So the distinction is crucial. Protest, when organized and intentional, serves as a vehicle for transformation, whereas unrest, if left unstructured, risks perpetuating the same disorder without achieving any tangible goals. What is their goal? How is this accomplishing it other than waiting for mommy and daddy to say they're going to take you to McDonald's? Now that we've got that clear, you protested at the dinner table. A true protest would be to get your wife cooking classes. Look, babe, I'm tired of eating this shit. I signed you up for some cooking classes every Wednesday and Friday evening. On Fridays, I'm gonna go with you. We're gonna do this together. In other words, that's a vehicle for transformation now. See, now you're not just talking shit about her and her mother and her grandmother about the whole family can't cook. You're not doing that. You're not tearing her down. You investing to build what you want. Standing there every Thursday arguing that all your wife makes that you like is Taco Tuesday, and when she make that chicken black bean sauce plantain, that's childish. And it doesn't provide resolve. All it does is cause more stress. Now your wife got PTSD every time she turn on the stove, like our real chicks from back in the hood when she boiling water and got the noodles waiting, and then for some reason she needs some baking soda. Now she's having a flashback. That's what you're doing. So instead of that, I need you to share this video with 25 people that you feel like want to be American, but don't know that they're United States citizens. Okay? That's step number one. And then you need to tell them that if they're going to stay in your circle, they're going to have to understand this concept. And we're going to need to build together. And then pass that collection plate. Because Pasha need to fund this shit. So Pasha's branding America. I'm branding America. I'm suggesting a strategic reimagining of your identity and the purpose of the United States within our communities. I'm positioning America as the brand rather than a government. Why are you saying no King Day when you should be king? 2. See, this approach seeks to unify we, the people, under a shared ideology or vision that transcends current political and societal turmoil associated with your pledge allegiance to the United States. This movement, this true protest, aligns with the original spirit of protest, a formal, intentional declaration of action, and rejects the unproductive chaos of unrest. This is the only true way for America to protest. We're going to have a shift from chaos to purpose. We are going to have a new narrative for unity. This ain't Queen Latifah shit. We're going to empower communities through action. The unrest you see before you is your warning signal. Pasha, I have delivered the call for action. And we are in process of progress. Because it's only through the intentionality of true protest, through movements like mine's Branding America, that this unrest can be transformed into productive change. This movement that you are invited to be a part of represents the evolution of protest, one that not only declares dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs, but also provides a vision, the vision for what shall come next. By replacing the United States with America as a brand, we redefine our identity and purpose as a nation, one nation, creating a platform of action that is both intentional and transformative. You can't have no King Day until we become king. What I mean is, you can't have no King Day until we become king of currency and financial systems. Because right now, the Fed, Reserve, Treasury, and other quote-unquote government institutions control the issuance of what you think is money, the regulation of banks, the stability of the financial system that you, so God help you, believe in. The dependence created from that is citizens rely on the US dollar, a fiat currency, and centralized banking systems to conduct their lives and businesses. This dependency allows the government to manipulate economic conditions through inflation, taxation, and monetary policy, and you sitting there having a temper tantrum is all you think you can do. We're going to deliver the solution to local communities so that they can create alternative financial systems. I'm a fan of just getting rid of the currency and making everything free. And before you say that's crazy, we're a lot closer than you think, because once AI and automation merge on their XY, the cost of all production of goods will race to a 0 point. When the AI can say, I am AI and I can build the robot and put an AI in the robot to mine the ore, pick the corn, put it on the automated self-driving truck, drive it to the refinery, be refined in the automated refinery process, to be put on another automated truck, to be taken to the manufacturer who take the raw materials in an automated process and develop the finished product, to then be shipped to Amazon through AI, to be flown to your house on order by the AI drone and dropped off on your porch with the AI guard dog preventing the porch pirates from taking your tortillas that you ordered. Everything will cost nothing to produce. And if left uncorrupt as a system, you would be that much freer, because all you would have to do in life is worry about your creativity and whatever your spiritual or religious, attitude is. We won't need currency. We won't need Bitcoin. You won't be having to chase about gold bars. You could just, if you want a gold chain with your diamonds on it, let your nuts hang. Other than that, you ain't got shit to worry about. Everything free. The earth is free. The earth was here. Why are we being charged for earth? Now you think about that statement how you want to. The corn came from the earth. The coal burned to power your Tesla came from the earth. The iron that's supposed to be in the cars to make it strong frame, or steel or whatever they use nowadays, the titanium exhaust pipe tips came from the earth. The earth is free. Why are you paying for free earth? Number two, you can't be having a no king day until we become king of food regulation and supply chains. The U.S. Department of Agriculture. So right now, I need if you got a business that is food related, I need you to contact me so that we can help brand you. We can come to terms on how to help you grow your business. Because my goal is to make you big enough to replace the Food and Drug Administration. We can start locally, and then we can grow you collectively nationally with maybe others if needed. Here's my contact information. Okay? If you have a food-related business, hit me up. The U.S. Department of Agriculture and Food and Drug Administration regulates agriculture, food products, safety standards, etc. You can't be talking about and blaming and protesting Monsanto for poisoning you until you become king of the USDA, until we replace the FDA. That's the protest. We just gonna replace them. When you finally tired of chick or dude doing whatever chick or dude doing to you that make you want to have your tantrums on the phone with your best friends in the car, in the driveway at 2 a.m. instead of sitting in your own house, when you get over that fear, you replace them. You work to remove the codependency and you replace them. Or everybody around you is like, man, I would help them, but they keep going back to the abusive relationship. And if I beat their ass, I'm gonna have to pop them, and then I go to jail. And that's why brothers don't fuck with their sisters' husbands anymore. And they just have a terrible relationship because we kept coming to help. And then we got blamed for actually solving the problem. Right? So the government also subsidizes large-scale farming operations, so they can manipulate and control that. You remember they had them growing potatoes to throw them all away. The whole yield, the whole farm, the whole acreage was put on trucks to be dumped and buried instead of coming to a table like you. And they call it a potato famine. And then now they want to tell you that eggs cost $25, and you got to ask yourself, was that true? So Americans rely on industrialized farming and centralized food distribution systems, which can leave communities vulnerable to supply chain disruptions or unhealthy processes or processed food. And what we got to do is encourage local farming operations. I'm a fan of vertical farming. We can put it right on the block. It don't take up a lot of space, and you can get a lot of growth out there, especially if you had a little warehouse. You don't need the pesticides as much because you're dealing with indoor controlled facilities. Now, this is what we need to be having our sons and daughters working on, is developing, well, how do you grow watermelons indoor? Let's get that technology mastered so that we can not just be doing microgreens and stuff that only takes up this much space because we need the racks. Let's figure out how to get the bamboo to grow inside. So we need urban farming initiatives. And I said, we're going to get the collection plate around because this stuff ain't cheap. Like solar panels on an island in the mid-Atlantic, they're going to make it more expensive for us to do this, but this is what needs to be done. Because we not protesting, we getting shit done. And it looked like it taking us a little bit of time while they celebrating because they got their car payment, so they telling you they own something because they don't know they don't own it. But we gonna build something that's ours. We are branding America. So by growing food locally and building self-sustaining ecosystems, our economies will be able to reduce their reliance on government-regulated supply chains. You can't call for a no king day until you become king of education. The public school systems, funded and regulated by the government, provides education to the majority of Americans who believe that they're United States citizens. This dependence created, while the public education is seen as a valuable service, who tells them what they should be learning? It often enforces standardized, one-size-fits-all curricula that prioritizes conformity over creativity and or critical thinking. because they know that's going to lead to you having temper tantrums in the streets when you want change instead of actually a true protest, because they never told you what protest really meant. Every time they talk about protests, they show you pictures of people chanting in the street, holding a sign, asking mommy and daddy for McDonald's because they didn't like Brussels sprouts. So the solution, right? Because otherwise it creates a workforce more suited for maintaining the system instead of transforming it. Whoa. Most of that quote, the oppressed often favors their oppressor. Get the collection plate around back too. You want to make a donation that's larger than you feel is more substantial, hit me up. Email, call, we talk about it. You need a song, something, you need something done, you need a logo, you need investment. Because I put $1 million worth of psychology into branding. You ain't got $1 million in most cases to give me. But the importance is, if you're an educator in the community, and I invest what Pepsi would have paid $1.2 million in branding into your company, and you give me $20,000 for it, you're already up $980,000. But what that does is it makes you the most sustainable educator in your community, because my purpose is to make the community around you sustainable. That means I need you to be sustainable. So you need to not look at it as $20,000. You need to look at it as you're building an empire. We're building the empire of America, so that our future generations never have to be held captive by the United States again. You can't call for a no king day until you become the king of healthcare, because programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and subsidies under the Affordable Care Act provide healthcare to millions of people. The government also regulates the pharmaceutical industry and healthcare providers. And you scared to go to the holistic health practitioner because your insurance might not cover it. The dependency created there is that many people are relying on government subsidized healthcare plans or employer sponsored systems tied to government regulations, and then they the same people talking about the government using big pharma to kill them for entertainment purposes, allegedly. This limits competition, it stifles innovation, and in alternative healthcare models, it kills the innovation. So we got to advocate for direct primary care. We need some DPC models, right? We're going to get some healthcare cooperatives up in our community. This is America. And holistic wellness centers should be able to provide affordable care outside of government systems. Communities can also educate. See, educators, this is why we need to invest in you too. Communities need to educate themselves on preventative maintenance, health measures to reduce the reliance and codependency on reactive healthcare. Now give me 1 second. I gotta flip the burgers because I'm giving you a lot today. It's a lot of free high value. And if you want to support the channel, right, you know what to do. You can't be king. Excuse me. You can't call for a no king day until we become king of infrastructure and transportation. Because the government builds roads and maintains roads, bridges, public transit systems, and other critical quote unquote infrastructure, creating a dependence by controlling these transportation systems. The government dictates how you move, where you live, and how goods and services reach you. Now, this centralization also determines urban planning and economic development priorities. You wanna stop being redlined. You wanna stop protest. You wanna not have to keep being arrestable over redlining and gentrification. Well, we need to invest in private infrastructure. Get the collection plate. And you need to have someone who can manage such projects like me with my Greenbelt experience. That's why I do this, and that's why I do it this way. And I'm taking the time to share this with you because I get asked the questions, because people that are taught to have temper tantrums don't see the value in a real protest. This is real protest. I'm branding America. I'm gonna show you how to do this. So we invest in private infrastructure projects. We build our own toll roads. We create our own local transit systems, shared transportation initiatives. Additionally, decentralize the energy systems like solar grids. We're branding America. If you got a business, if you got a product, if you are an inventor anywhere in any of this stuff that I'm talking about, contact me today. When you guys want to go on a trip to the Bahamas and put your little $10,000 together and have that super all-inclusive trip so that you can take those 45 pictures that you put on Facebook and that's all you got out of it for the rest of your life, you guys collectively come up with 10 people to go spend $25,000 to go to the Bahamas with you on a cruise, buying a Rolex that's 10%, 20% more because it's on a cruise ship, so that you can post pictures on Facebook. I'm fucking telling you, you want to protest, let's protest, motherfucker. Get your checkbooks and hit me up with your realistic budget that you can contribute to branding America. You want to change? Give me your change. Because you don't want to change, so I'm going to do it for you. Because you can't have a no king day until we become king of defense and security. The military, police, and intelligence agencies provide national defense and local security, creating the dependence that Karens around the nation are going to call the cops and rely on the government for protection, which can lead to unchecked authority or abuse of power, i.e. or e.g. whatever, surveillance, militarized police, face recognition systems at your 7-Eleven. See, as the solution might be communities can develop neighborhood watch programs. Fuck it, police yourself, like we see some doing now. Private security co-ops. If you are a security company, let's grow, let's expand. Let's look at your brand. Let's establish some entitlements. Give me 20 grand. Or invest in the technologies that promote personal safety. If they want to have face recognition systems, why can't you? Level the playing field. We need to install the local responsibility, not the local limited liability. If we are to reduce reliance and codependency on government-controlled systems, you need people who are not government-controlled. Everybody in that unrest, everybody that's got a picture on their social media about being in some temper tantrum on the street, they're government controlled. We need to help them change their minds about how to approach this. You might have been the one out there with the megaphone taking the crowd into what you call the war, but you are fighting the wrong war. So you need the people who know what to do to give you the proper direction and guidance for you to be who you are. I'm not telling you you're not supposed to lead the people into battle. I'm telling you, let me tell you where I need you at. I'm telling you to get 25 of your supporters to send me the check so that I can fund your project, so that I can properly establish and maintain your work site so that you can put in that work that you like to do. When I was running the maintenance department for 3M plant, with the total success of the whole operation, the whole plant, $40 million net, not gross, $40 million net profit per year, lied in the balance of my decisions to make sure the machines keep running properly. These motherfuckers trusted me with the whole operation. If I make a mistake, the whole plant blow up. You think I can't get your community right? You think I can't help you fix your neighborhood? Or are you that just that addicted to a government agency because of their logo, because of their branding? I'm saying to you, we can brand America together to replace that logo. Because you can't be king. You can't call for a not king day until we become king of social welfare programs. Programs like Social Security, unemployment benefits, food assistance, SNAP. Provide safety nets for vulnerable populations. You can't call for no king day until we remove the codependence created by these programs, address the immediate need that they can create long-term dependency by discouraging individual initiative or community-based solutions. See, that's why you were comfortable. They were comfortable on that Snap balance in the chat, the Snapchat balance. They were comfortable. And then they want to have problems or feel some type of way when they say we're changing the amount, whatever they did. You gotta do this to get that. You gotta jump through this hoop now. We're giving you extra hoops. We're gonna give you less bang for your buck. All this stuff. Now you got a problem, but that was the codependency. That was the setup. That was the here, get drunk. So we gotta build mutual aid networks. Get the collection plate. It's Sunday. We need to build mutual aid networks, community resource centers, and I'm not talking about the ones from your favorite activists, local activists that goes and gets the check from the corporation that's controlling everything that we're trying to get rid of. I'm not talking about the local activists that start the nonprofit, meaning that they connected to the government and can only do so much because they gonna be worried about getting grant money. The same reason scientists can't tell you that the earth might be flat, because they gonna get defunded. So they're not gonna be able to give you any change because they're gonna be too worried about getting change. But when you ain't spent time in the streets, or you ain't spent time in these places, you don't know the truth. You just out there unresting instead of protesting. Think about it. Professional. Protest. You want to test me now? Right? This is the protest. We gonna not just test you, we gonna replace. The protest is to change. See, when you get tested, when you started the class, you didn't know. They're hoping that by the end of the class, by the final exam, you are protesting. Get the collection plate. That's $100 right there. That one protest analogy is $59.95. Right? Send them the Cash App. Let them know we can invoice them, because they may not actually find it valuable until we bill them for it. That's why they like the United States. They get taxed for everything. So they get the bills. They're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I get paid tax. I get taxes. So we need to build the mutual aid networks, community resource centers, local investment funds to support the individuals in need without perpetuating dependency on government systems. You can't have a no king day until you become king, until we become king of information and media. Because the government regulates communication channels, FCC, provides public broadcasting services like PBS, NPR. They tell you what they want you to know. They tell you what they don't want you to know is fake news. That's why you hate people that bring the truth, because they taught you how to unrest instead of protest. And the dependency created by that is controlling the flow of information. The government can shape public opinions, narratives, and access to knowledge. They banning books, they burning books, they telling you can't read. And I thought your parents fought hard for you to be able to read. Oh, wait, you can read, but do you comprehend? That's the fork in the road. The solution is we got to invest in independent media platforms. Pasha shouldn't have to ask you to support the channel. You should be in the chat. How do I sing you 20,000? You going to work at the local manufacturing job, making $23 an hour, and you got 6 cars in the driveway. You should have sent me 20 grand instead of buying that 6 car. I would have done more for your life if you gave me the 20 grand than that 6 car did for you. I would have done more for your family with that 20 grand than what that 6 car did for you. But you don't think protests, you think unrest. And in that case, the unrest is, look how much work I'm putting in. I'm doing OT every day to afford this shit so I can post on Facebook that I got more whips and chains than you. Because whips and chains is slavery. Invest in our independent media platforms. I'll send you the invoice. You can pay on PayPal. Support open source technology. You got people designing apps. If not, get your kid a little app developer, whatever. Let them tinker with it. Stop getting all our sons a basketball and a football. Ain't nobody watching the NBA finals. And encourage citizen journalism to decentralize information. Start looking at the government as a business. You've heard me say, you see me protest. I'm Pasha Paro. I'm reducing the codependency on big government and large corporations by empowering we the people to create sustainable communities. Look at the government as a business. So what's the role of we the people then? I summarize that in this statement. When you see these videos and you go share it to your people and they be like, we scared of Pasha because, you know, he looked like he against the government, and oh my God, they're gonna have our photos on face recognition system and they're gonna raise our interest rate and we not gonna be able to pretend that we own our Lexus because we ain't gonna be able to make the payments. The interest gonna be so high because we said something the government didn't like. Smack the shit out of them. Get away from them, something. Because they're gonna be the downfall of your future generation. They're gonna be the ones on the phone calling the feds and the cops and the SNAP police on your sons and daughters when rent is $15,000 a month for a 1-bedroom, 1,000 square foot apartment. They gonna be the ones calling on your son and daughter who's struggling, who's in the middle of passion. So we're not opposed to the United States. We're just small businesses competing for market share. We are America. And I'm Pasha Paro.